I realize that this topic is not going to change anybody's mind, but I have a lot to say, and I do think it's interesting. I love this topic. I care a lot about it. And I know most people either really, really like Aaron Rodgers or really, really don't. He's a very polarizing person. And most people's mind is already made up. And I also know that facts do not change people's opinion. But I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. So here we go. I broke up what I have to say into 6 parts. I wanted to make it easy to digest, easy to follow along with, easy to listen to. Part 1 is this. I got to go. I got to go get the trophy. I'll be right back. Okay, I do not hate Aaron Rodgers. I get accused of hating Aaron Rodgers all the time. I literally gave Aaron Rodgers my NFL Offensive Player of the Year for 2020. When people say I hate Aaron Rodgers, it's simply not true. Like, you don't know what's in my heart, and it drives me nuts. I don't hate the guy, and I don't know what else to say other than that. Maybe, I will say there was a good argument for Derrick Henry for the NFL Offensive Player of the Year last year. He ran for over 2,000 yards. If I hated Aaron Rodgers, I could have very easily said, I'm going to give the award to Derrick Henry and snub Aaron, who I think was very much deserving. I don't hate the guy. I enjoy watching Jeopardy. Aaron Rodgers opened the world of Jeopardy to me. I watched every single episode where he was a guest host. I think he's great in interviews. Seems like a really cool dude. And he's also quite possibly, and I think is, if someone had a gun in my head and said, pick one guy, I'd say Aaron is the best thrower of the football, like ever to walk on planet Earth. He's the best thrower of the football ever. He's incredibly talented. I do not hate Aaron Rodgers, and I'm so tired of hearing that. Okay, now, number 2, I also want to say I support Aaron Rodgers trying to get out of Green Bay. I've got no problem with the guy wanting a trade, wanting out. There is nothing wrong with wanting to leave. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting a better life. I transferred in high school. I played football at multiple colleges. I'm planning to move away 2,000 miles away from where I live. It's terrifying. It's daunting. But I want a better life, and it's okay to want something different and want a better life. And if Aaron feels like leaving Green Bay is going to give him a better life, first of all, he's probably right, because usually you know what you want, and if you really want to change, you should go get that. I support that. I think it's right, and I support Aaron Rodgers wanting out of Green Bay. Hey everyone, it's Zach. I am coming to you from the editing room. I was editing this episode, and I realized, oh my gosh, I mispronounced Brian Gutekunst's name pretty much every time I said it. I think I said Gutenkunst, so I just wanted to get out in front of it and say, hey, I'm wrong. My bad. It's not the most natural name to say in the entire world. Hey, be warned, I'm about to say his name wrong, like literally every single time. You've been warned. I apologize. And I know people hate it, so letting you know. I know it's Gutekunst, not Gutenkunst, but you try to say that 100 times in a row. It's not easy. So love you, appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the topic. So point number 3, my problem is not what Aaron Rodgers is doing. My problem is the way he's doing it, the way he's going about solving his problem. For example, I think it totally made sense that a report came out saying Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. What I didn't like was the timing of it. Why did that have to come out the day of the NFL draft? And you can say, look, Aaron didn't release the report. ESPN, Adam Schefter made that report happen. But there's information in there that only Aaron Rodgers could have provided in the story. And to do it on the day of the draft, it's not a coincidence that a year after Aaron got embarrassed by the Packers, to the day, Aaron Rodgers ruins their draft. Like, you ruined my draft day a year ago, I'm going to ruin yours. And the Packers, what happened to them was extremely unhelpful. They got left scrambling the day of the draft, and the only person who benefited from that information coming out the day of the draft was Aaron Rodgers. He got revenge on the Packers. It was vengeful. It ruined draft day for the Packers, and it was revenge for what happened a year ago. And then a report came out that maybe if the Packers fired their general manager, Brian Gutekunst, then maybe if you fire the GM, then again, maybe we can work things out. Maybe I can find a way. The report came out that maybe Aaron could find a way to be happy in Green Bay if the Packers fired their general manager. And I got a lot of feedback from fans on Instagram and social media, people saying like, well, what if the story's fake? Like maybe the report isn't true. Hey, maybe it's not. But I will say, if the report isn't true, then Aaron Rodgers should come out and say, hey, this isn't true. I didn't say this. I don't feel this way. Because trying to get somebody fired is not cool. My dad lost a job in 2009 in the recession, and we were homeless. We lived in a mobile home. It was not fun. Brian Gutekunst has a family. He's got a wife. He's got 4 kids. Messing with people's livelihood is not cool. It's not, I don't like that. It's a very serious thing. And if it's not true that Aaron really wants the GM fired, he should come out and say that. And if he doesn't say that, I think that's the wrong way to handle the situation. Again, he's got a family, 4 kids. Now, this leads me to point number 4. I do not believe that Brian Gutekunst is doing a bad job. In fact, he's done very well as a general manager. Now, I remember a couple years ago, was it 2 years ago now? Freddie Kitchens was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He was not a good head coach. Like, yeah, if you're doing a bad job, you shouldn't keep your job. Like, you should get fired if you're doing a terrible job. But to me, in my opinion, from where I stand, and I'll explain why, firing Brian Gutekunst does not appear to be a justifiable thing. So his job as general manager is to pick the players and build the team. And 2 years in a row now, the team that Brian Gutekunst built has gone to the NFC Championship game. 1 game away from getting to a Super Bowl. Is that a bad football team? Is that a team that should add better players? That's a good... How many people go to the NFC Championship game and then lose their job? Not very many. That's a successful, good football team. He brought in Zadarius Smith. He brought in Preston Smith. He built a really good team around Aaron Rodgers. That was the doing of Brian Gutekunst. And people say the guy needs to draft a wide receiver in the first round. No, they don't. Look at the Packers roster. They don't need a receiver. First of all these people act like Aaron Rodgers has nobody to throw to. That's just not true. The Packers actually have Devontae Adams, a 4-time Pro Bowler, who's awesome. He's fantastic. The Packers also have Marquez Valdes-Scantling. They have Alan Lazard and Robert Tonyan. There's a bunch of guys that I just listed that are like good wide receivers who, Robert Tonyan is a tight end, but people who are good pass catchers who make plays for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron doesn't need a wide receiver. He just won the NFL MVP. Like, how many times does a quarterback on a terrible team win MVP? That doesn't sound like an offense that's just floundering. And when your quarterback wins MVP, that's not a sign of a terrible offense. It's really frustrating, draft a wide receiver in the first round. These are the top picks the Packers made in the most recent NFL draft in 2021. In the first round, they drafted a corner, Eric Stokes. That's a good pick. They desperately needed a corner. They didn't desperately need a receiver. They desperately needed a corner. Then in the second round, the Packers drafted a center, Josh Myers out of Ohio State. Do not tell me that drafting an offensive lineman is somehow not good for Aaron Rodgers. Drafting an offensive lineman helps your quarterback in any situation. Then in the third round, the Packers drafted Amari Rodgers, a wide receiver out of Clemson. And then in the fourth round, the Packers drafted another offensive lineman, Royce Newman from Ole Miss. So the first 4 picks the Packers made in the 2021 NFL draft help the Packers quarterback. The defense got better. They drafted 2 offensive linemen and a wide receiver. Like, that's good. And by the way, they're already a good team. I'm really sorry. And by the way, I want to be careful. I know that when I'm very passionate about this topic. I care a lot. And I think there's a lot of people that are just flat out wrong about this. And so I hope my tone of voice doesn't turn people off. I apologize. I know that my dad has a saying. He says, emotion moves faster than words. And so I just apologize if I'm trying to keep myself, not too excited, and I'm not angry. I really care about this topic. And look, I'm really sorry that the Packers didn't draft a wide receiver in the first round, but they didn't need one. The Packers needed a corner. And it's really frustrating to me that people use that Packers first round pick as kind of a scapegoat to be like, see, that's why the GM is bad. It's like, no, he made a good pick. He drafted 4 really good players that were good for their team. Now, people say all the time, I hear this a lot. People say, the Packers just simply do not draft receivers in the first round. And after that statement is made, the assumption would be, and it's a very fair assumption, people would think, wow, well, the Packers must have never given Aaron Rodgers any good receivers to play with. So to prove that wrong, here's a list of receivers that have been Pro Bowlers while Aaron has played with them. I guess the only one on this list, Jimmy Graham, is a Pro Bowler who went to the Packers and left after 1 year to go to Chicago. But he played with Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb is a Pro Bowler, Jimmy Graham is on the list, and then, of course, you have Devontae Adams. Like, that's a long list of people who have been very good players that Aaron Rodgers has played with. And so I'm really tired of people acting like Aaron has just never, ever had help. I'm sorry there weren't first-round picks. I'm sorry that Jordy Nelson wasn't a first-round pick, but Jordy Nelson was awesome, like a great player. And so I just... it seems completely disingenuous when people say, well, they never draft first-round receivers. It doesn't matter. I don't care when people are drafted. Are they good? He's had a lot of good people around him his entire career. Now, here's where a lot of people, the division is kind of drawn in the sand. Brian Gutekunst drafted a quarterback, Jordan Love, in the first round in the 2020 NFL Draft. And a lot of people said, man, the Packers do not need a quarterback. By the way, that's the same thing they said when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers in 2005, when the Packers already had a starting quarterback, Brett Favre. Like, history just repeated itself. And people hated that pick back then, and now they love Aaron Rodgers, and people hated the Jordan Love pick. And if Jordan Love does well, they'll love Jordan Love too. It's so funny. Like, nope, we have such a short memory. And I think maybe it's because a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube just were not literally born when Aaron Rodgers was drafted. I don't know. But if you're running a team and you have a quarterback older than, if you have an older quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old. Phillip Rivers, who was 2 years older than Aaron, 39, just retired. And so if you have an older quarterback, then you have a responsibility as a general manager to make sure you have a backup plan. I would compare the Green Bay Packers to the Pittsburgh Steelers. When Big Ben retires, Pittsburgh has no plan. There's nothing next, and I think that's incredibly irresponsible to not have a backup plan prepared when your aging veteran quarterback retires. If you have no plan after that, that's a huge mistake, and that's a irresponsible way to run your franchise. I'm going to say, this is very important to me. Drafting Jordan Love was a good pick. It drives me nuts. People are like so harsh on that. That's a good draft pick. You have an older quarterback who's expensive. And by the way, Aaron is now talking about retiring and going and doing Jeopardy. So the Packers had better have a backup plan after Aaron Rodgers, because the way Aaron talks sounds like he's done with football sometimes. So it's a good thing the Packers drafted Jordan Love. Now, here's the mistake that Brian Gutekunst made, and we can talk about this. I think it's very, very important. When Brian Gutekunst drafted Jordan Love, he didn't get on the phone and call Aaron Rodgers to give him a heads up. And I was a manager at a grocery store. I've been a manager before. I've had employees under me. Part of being any kind of manager, whether you're at a grocery store or a football team, running hardware, like no matter what you do, part of being a manager is, the experience of having to have uncomfortable conversations, telling people like, hey, you got to come to work. You got to do better. You have to be able to have uncomfortable conversations in any kind of manager position. So you can argue, and I understand that argument. That is part of Brian Gutekunst's job. I hear that argument. I've been a manager before. So I think, Brian Gutekunst should have called Aaron Rodgers. That would have been the right thing to do relationally. Like, it's kind of funny. The Buccaneers called Tom Brady when they drafted Kyle Trask. The Bears called Andy Dalton when they drafted Justin Fields. And I will say part of that is because that's happened after the Aaron Rodgers things. A lot of teams looked at what happened with Aaron and were like, man, you better warn your starting quarterback. You're going to make him very, very angry. However, so if you have a good relationship, the right thing relationally to do is give someone a warning. Hey, we're thinking of replacing you. However, I will say, Aaron does not appear to have a good relationship with Brian Gutekunst. And if you call Aaron Rodgers on draft night, hey, Aaron, we're trading up, we're drafting a quarterback in the first round. What if Aaron says, no, don't do that? That's a risk that no one talks about ever. Because if Aaron tells you not to draft Jordan Love, you're in a really tough spot where because you're the Packers and you're like, our quarterback's aging, we feel like we need a quarterback. And Aaron tells you not to draft him and you do it anyway. Then you automatically damage the relationship. So the only way to not risk that kind of interaction is to simply not call Aaron Rodgers. So I can see a world where you're mad that he didn't call Aaron Rodgers. I also see a world where you did. And again, all these people saying, well, Andy Dalton got a heads up and Tom Brady got a heads up. Well, this is post the Aaron Rodgers era where it's been very public knowledge. Hey, if you don't tell your quarterback, like the Packers didn't tell Aaron Rodgers, he might get really angry. And no one wants to make that mistake that the Packers made. So clearly a decision was made in 2020 not to pick up the phone and call Aaron Rodgers. And the decision, to me, was pretty clear. The Packers felt like it wasn't safe to make that phone call. And then also, there's a conflict of interest here where, for one party, drafting a quarterback, when you have an older quarterback, drafting Jordan Love is good for the Packers. It's good for what the team needs. But drafting Jordan Love is not what's best for Aaron Rodgers. You see the conflict there? So why should Aaron have input on something that his answer built in is not necessarily good for the team. And so when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, that was the moment where the divide began, where if you're a fan of the Packers, you had to very quickly realize, am I a fan of Aaron Rodgers or am I a fan of the Green Bay Packers? Because you have to pick a side now. Because what's best for the Packers no longer was what's best for Aaron Rodgers. The divide happened, and I just think it's a very important distinction. Ask yourself, if you're a Packers fan, are you really? If Aaron Rodgers leaves, are you a fan of Aaron Rodgers and you're going to follow him? Or are you going to remain a Green Bay Packers fan? That's a real question you need to ask yourself if you are a Packers fan. Now, here's part number 5. I have high expectations for Aaron Rodgers. He's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. So I'm hard on the guy, yes. But he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I expect a lot from a guy like Aaron Rodgers. When you have a good team around you and you're a quarterback of the caliber of Aaron Rodgers, you should win a Super Bowl. The fact that he hasn't is kind of weird. And did you notice that every single person finds a way to blame everybody other than Aaron Rodgers? It's the receivers, it's the defense, it's the offensive line, it's the GM. It's never, ever. The blame never goes to Aaron Rodgers. It's a bit weird. And if Aaron Rodgers really is the best quarterback in the entire NFL, what's happened in the last 2 years? Why have they gone to the NFC Championship game and lost? In the NFC Championship game last year in 2020, Aaron got a ton of support. They played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers defense picked off Tom Brady 3 times, and they lost. He had a defense that picked off Tom Brady 3 times. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's, I guess, so bad they needed to replace him, had 115 yards receiving and a touchdown. Aaron got help, and they lost. But nobody wants to talk about how maybe that was Aaron Rodgers' fault. We blame the coach, the GM, the receivers, the defense. We blame everybody other than the Hall of Fame quarterback who, God forbid, gets held accountable when you're a great quarterback on a good team and you probably got to win that game. So I'm told all the time, the Packers all they need is wide receivers. And then I watch Marquez Valdes-Scantling have over 100 yards receiving in the NFC Championship game. It's like, wait a minute. It's not like they have nobody. It's very weird to me. Again, he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I expect a lot from Aaron Rodgers. And if the report that Aaron wants a GM fired really isn't true and it's fake, Aaron should come out and say, this isn't true. I don't feel this way. He should hold a press conference and deny it because, again, messing with a man's livelihood when he's got a family, 4 kids, that's not cool. And, I honestly, the thing I wish Aaron would do is demand that Jordan Love get traded. When Tom Brady was on the New England Patriots and they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in the 2nd round, we're like, hey, we're trying to get a guy for when you're done. Tom Brady was like, get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, trade him away. Did you notice nobody lost their job? Tom Brady didn't say, oh, you want to replace me, so Bill Belichick, the GM, he should be fired. He's clearly an idiot. And Bill didn't want Tom Brady, and Tom Brady clearly had some football left in him. He did really well. But notice nobody lost their job in the Tom Brady situation. In fact, Jimmy Garoppolo got traded and got a massive, massive payday. You're telling me if Jordan Love didn't get traded away from the Green Bay Packers, he wouldn't get an opportunity? The Bears, before drafting Justin Fields, would have loved to have Jordan Love. There are a lot of teams out there we'll take, the Washington football team, they'll take Jordan Love. They're like, sure, we'll take him. We'll see. We want to see what he has. We have a veteran quarterback, and we'll let Jordan Love sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year. There are teams out there that would love to have Jordan Love. And he benefits from leaving Green Bay if the Packers want that. So I don't understand why Aaron Rodgers doesn't go demand a trade for Jordan Love. I'm mad about it. I didn't like the pick. I have no problem being direct and saying I don't like the pick, get rid of him. But it's the indirect part I don't like. And I got to tell you this, man. You can pursue what you want without tearing other people down. Remember, Mike McCarthy got fired because of Aaron Rodgers. This is not the first time this has happened. He got Mike McCarthy fired. Now he's trying to get the GM fired. And by the way, the GM, Brian Gutekunst, does not deserve it. He's done a good job. He's built a good team. He's given a lot of support to Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not down with Aaron trying to ruin another man's livelihood. And if it's not true, deny it. Come out and say it. But he hasn't said anything. So clearly to me, it's probably true. And to say I'm not coming back is fine. It's not what he's doing. It's the way he's doing it. And I really believe that talent and skill does not give you an excuse to be a jerk. And man, what I don't get about this is that trying to ruin another man's life, trying to get somebody fired, is that a good guy move? Is that something that heroes do? I don't think so. But we're treating Aaron Rodgers like a hero who deserves a ton of praise. I'm on Aaron Rodgers' side. Oh, you are? Trying to ruin a man's life? Take his job? He's got a family? Again, Brian Gutekunst has done a good job. He made a pick Aaron didn't like, but he's made a bunch of great moves to build that Packers team, and they've done very, very well. Again, if he was Freddie Kitchens and was terrible, fire the guy, sure. But firing Brian Gutekunst is just simply not justified. Now, at the Kentucky Derby, again, this part 5 is about holding Aaron Rodgers accountable. It's okay. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. You should have high expectations of him. This past weekend at the Kentucky Derby, Aaron Rodgers was there. Mike Tirico was there broadcasting, and Mike Tirico had a conversation with Aaron. Do you want to be interviewed? And Aaron said, no, I don't want to do it. And what he said privately, off the record, but, kind of the thing that they can say publicly is Aaron told Mike Tirico he was disappointed that all this information about Green Bay came out. That seems really, really disingenuous. That's just not true. I don't understand how that possibly could be true. Because the information that Aaron Rodgers is unhappy in Green Bay coming out, all it does is help Aaron Rodgers. Remember that report that apparently the 49ers tried to trade for Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers were like, no way, we're not making that happen. The Packers have denied trades. So if that report didn't come out, then it's very possible Aaron would have had a much harder time forcing his way out. That information, for Aaron Rodgers to get what he wants, the information that he doesn't want to be in Green Bay had to come out somehow. And to tell me that Aaron, the timing is a coincidence, there's no way a year to the day he got embarrassed by the GM, that information suddenly comes out. Come on, that's not a coincidence. So here's the last thing I want to say. It's part number 6. The Packers' relationship with Aaron Rodgers is over. And he might go to another team and do very well. I think Aaron Rodgers with the Denver Broncos would be very exciting. It's a lot of talent. It's a great roster. Just waiting for a good quarterback. And I think Aaron Rodgers in Denver would be a blast to watch. And I'd go, hey, that team might win a Super Bowl. But as far as Green Bay is concerned, Aaron is not being reasonable. The Packers GM has built a good team. And that's his job. He's done Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, has done a very good job. And from where I stand and where I sit, he's done good. And so trying to fire a guy who's doing a good job is not reasonable. And you cannot deal with unreasonable people. Aaron's being unreasonable. And if Aaron doesn't get exactly what he wants, you hear reports all the time, he'll just quit football and go do Jeopardy. Like, okay, that's not healthy either. If a guy has so much power where he demands exactly what he wants, and if he doesn't get it, he's out, Aaron will hold the Packers like hostage, basically. You can't work with someone who's unreasonable. I'll say that over and over again. Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old. He's got a really expensive contract. And by the way, it's not like the Packers have been winning Super Bowls recently with Aaron Rodgers. They've been to 2 NFC Championship games in a row, and it hasn't happened. A great quarterback with a great team, and they can't get over the hump. And at some point, I'm getting really tired of blaming the GM and the coach and the offensive line and the receivers and the defense. Like, at some point, it's like, hey, you're supposed to be this amazing quarterback. Make it happen. You got a good enough team around you. So at this point, the best thing the Green Bay Packers can do is trade away Aaron Rodgers. Go get a mega haul in return. I think that would be a great thing for the Packers to get a bunch of players and draft picks and get whatever they can. He goes to the highest bidder. My opinion of Aaron is that he's vengeful and unreasonable, and I would not bow down to him if I was the Green Bay Packers. It's not worth the trouble. I don't know what Green Bay really benefits by giving Aaron exactly what he wants, other than a good player who hasn't gotten them over the hump. And so, look, here's the thing. If Aaron really wants to get revenge on Green Bay, if he says, I am really mad you drafted Jordan Love and I want to get revenge, the best thing to do is leave. Do what Tom Brady did. Go to some other team and win a Super Bowl. You don't need to tear down Brian Gutekunst. You don't need to, burn down the barn on your way out. Like, don't do anything to hurt the Green Bay Packers. The best, if you want to get revenge on the Packers and make them look stupid, go to Denver and win a Super Bowl. That's the best way to get revenge. You don't need to tear other people down to get what you want in life. And that is where I stand on Aaron Rodgers. I I don't think it, again, it's not what he's doing, it's the way he's doing it. And that's my 6-part conversation of um, how I feel about the Aaron Rodgers situation.